There are various ways that you can factor a problem to make it simpler and more comprehensive. I am here to show you a few ways to factor and hopefully give you some knowledge that will be helpful in the future. Now, like I said, there are tons of ways to factor, and to name a few that I'll be helping you with: GCF, grouping, the X method, and finding the difference of squares. We'll start with GCF, which means greatest common factor. This just means that we're going to find all the similar factors in the numbers and variables in a problem and simplify it. Here's a sample problem. This may look like a big problem, but it really isn't as complicated as it seems. You just do what it says, find the greatest common factor. Our greatest common factor in this problem would be 4. So you just divide everything by 4, and you end up with this. But you're not done yet. There's still factors to be pulled out, but this time look to the variables. You have an x squared, and an x to the 4th, but the highest thing you can pull out is a 1, since your lowest is x. So now that you've pulled out all your variables, you have this. See? It's that easy. And if you don't trust me, you can always redistribute to check your answer, though how you couldn't trust a kindly wolf such as myself is beyond me. Okay, so our next way to solve with factoring is by grouping. You only use grouping when you have a polynomial, or an equation with 4 numbers, like this one. To solve this, you split the problem in half, like this. Now this problem is just like the last one, except now you're factoring 2 problems instead of 1. You can take the 3y squared out of the first problem and get 3y squared, parentheses, 1 plus 5y. For the other problem, you can take out 2y, and that gives you negative 2y, parentheses, 1 plus 5y. You have the negative sign on the outside of the parentheses, because when you distribute, it'll make everything inside the parentheses negative. At this point, you now have this. That's good, but you're not quite done yet. Did you notice anything about this problem? Let me point it out to you if you haven't already noticed it. See that? Everything in the parentheses is the same, so why not combine them? And why leave the numbers outside the parentheses out? Let's combine those two as well. There you have it. It doesn't seem as hard now, right? Alright, you're halfway through. Just bear with me. Next, we have the X method, which thankfully is a lot simpler than the grouping method. With the X method, it only works if you have a trinomial, or a problem with 3 terms, like this one. To start with the X method, let's draw an X. To put a big X under the problem, and then, once again, we find our factors. So to get to negative 4x squared, we can multiply 2x by negative 2x. And to get to 15, we have 15 and 1. Next, you work your problem like this. The 2x multiplies by the 1, because that's where the line points, to give you 2x, and the negative 2x multiplies by the 15 to give you negative 30x. What do you do with these seemingly random numbers now? Add them together, and see what you find. Negative 30x and 2x combine to make negative 28x, which is your middle number. Your answers, when added up, should equal your middle number. Now all you have to do is make your equation, which should end up looking like this. I got that because when you're through, you just put parentheses around the 2 numbers at the top of the x and the 2 numbers at the bottom of the x. Man, I don't know about you, but I'm working up a sweat here, even though wolves can actually sweat. But I'm not one to get technical. Well, yes I am. Okay, last problem. Difference of squares. For this method, you must have a binomial, which is a 2-term problem, with perfect squares and a minus sign. Here's an example. The first step to solving this problem would be to find the square root for both numbers. In this case, that would be 3x and 7. Then, all you have to do is put the square root of both numbers in 2 groups, one with the minus sign, one with the plus sign. That should be your answer. So we've learned how to factor in just a few different ways using GCF, grouping, the X method, and the difference of squares method. Like in all factoring problems, the main and most crucial step is finding your greatest common factor. With a little practice, and maybe with the help of other random woodland animals, I'm sure you can master factoring. Thanks for watching.